The Whispering Woods of Wimbleton. In the heart of the verdant landscape of evergreen Shire, there existed an ancient woodland known to the villagers as the Whispering Woods of Wimbleton. This forest, cloaked in a perpetual mist and a silence broken only by the soft whispers of leaves, was rumored to be alive with enchantment. They say the trees could talk, and not just to each other, but to those who knew how to listen. No one knew the woods better than young Ivy, a girl with emerald eyes and hair the color of autumn leaves. She was not like the other children in the village of Thistlenook, who spent their days working in the fields or helping at the market. Ivy was a dreamer, a wanderer at heart, and the Whispering Woods called to her. Ivy's grandmother, who had the same sparkling eyes, often told her tales of the woods. "It's a magical place, Ivy," she would say. "The trees hold secrets of the ages, and the wind carries wisdom from the four corners of the earth. But remember, child, magic is a delicate thing. It must be respected." One clear morning, as the dew still clung to the blades of grass, and the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, Ivy made up her mind to venture deeper into the woods than she ever had before. She packed a small satchel with a loaf of bread, a flask of water, and her grandmother's compass, the one with the intricate silver casing and a dial that always pointed towards adventure. With a heart as curious as her feet were swift, Ivy made her way to the edge of the woods. The trees stood tall and proud, their branches intertwined like the fingers of old friends. She stepped into the shade, and the world transformed. The air grew cooler, the sounds of the village faded away, and the whispers grew louder. "Welcome, Ivy," the trees seemed to say. "We have been waiting." The deeper Ivy traveled, the more alive the forest seemed. Flowers bloomed in impossible colors, birds sang in harmonies that tugged at the heartstrings, and the trees, they did more than whisper. They spoke. "Ivy," a voice called, soft and melodic as the wind itself. "You have come." Ivy looked around, searching for the speaker, but she saw no one. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice steady despite the thumping of her heart. "We are the sentinels of the woods," the voice replied, coming from all around her. "We watch over this place, and we know the hearts of those who enter." Ivy swallowed. "I mean no harm. I've come to learn, to understand." "The path of knowledge is thorny," the voice warned. "But if you are true of heart, it may be walked. Seek the heart of the woods. It is there that all truths are revealed." And so Ivy began her quest. She followed a trail marked by stones that glimmered with an inner light, and trees that bowed their branches to show her the way. The deeper into the forest she went, the more the world around her seemed to pulse with an ancient power. Hours passed, and the sky grew dimmer, the light filtering through the leaves in ethereal beams. Ivy felt no fear, only a profound sense of purpose. She knew she was meant to be here, meant to find the heart of the woods. As the day waned into evening, Ivy came upon a clearing she had never seen before. In its center stood an oak tree, grander than any she had ever known, its trunk wide and its leaves a vibrant green, even in the fading light. It was the kind of tree that seemed like it could touch the stars if it stretched its branches high enough. "The heart of the woods," Ivy whispered to herself. "Yes," the tree responded, its voice clear and deep. "I am the oldest of the sentinels, the keeper of balance. You seek knowledge, Ivy of Thistlenook, but are you prepared for the burden it brings? Ivy nodded, her resolve unwavering. I am. The path you choose this day will change the course of your life and the lives of all who dwell in Evergreen Shire, the oak continued, for the forest is dying. A darkness creeps at the edges of our realm, seeping life from the soil and silence from the air. But why? Ivy asked, her voice a mix of confusion and fear. It is the work of the shadowbark, a creature born of a time when magic was wild and unchecked. It seeks to return the world to that chaos, the oak explained. You, Ivy, with your pure heart, you can stop it. How? The word was a breath, a plea for guidance. You must find the seed of light, the first seed ever planted in these woods, from which all life here sprang. It lies hidden, protected by trials that will test your courage, your strength, and your heart. Retrieve it and plant it anew in the soil of the heart. Only then can the shadowbark be banished and balance restored. Ivy felt the weight of her task like a stone in her stomach, but she also felt a flame of determination kindling within her. Tell me what I must do. The oak's branches parted, revealing a path Ivy had not seen before, shrouded in darkness yet speckled with flecks of light, like stars in the night sky. Follow the starlit path, said the oak. It will lead you to the seed of light. Go now, for time is a river that flows ever onward, and it waits for no one. Ivy stepped onto the path without hesitation. The whispers of the woods seemed to form a chorus of encouragement, urging her forward. Her journey had just begun, and though she did not know what awaited her, she was ready to face it. The starlit path wound through the woods like a river of darkness bordered by the luminescent glow of the forest. Ivy's senses sharpened, attuned to the rustle of the leaves and the soft tread of her own footsteps. Above her, the stars peeked through the canopy, their light dim but constant companions in the night that had fallen over Wimbleton. As she journeyed, the path began to climb, leading her up a gentle slope that grew steeper with every step. The air grew chillier, and Ivy could see her breath forming little clouds that floated upwards and disappeared among the leaves. The ascent was tiring, but Ivy's spirit did not waver. She felt as though the stars themselves were cheering her on, their distant twinkle a silent encouragement. Finally, the path leveled out onto a plateau, and Ivy found herself at the edge of a vast, moonlit glade. In the center stood a towering figure shrouded in darkness, a figure that seemed to absorb the light around it. The shadowbark. Ivy's heart pounded in her chest, but she stood her ground. The shadowbark was a creature of nightmares, its form shifting and writhing like smoke, its presence a cold void that made the night seem darker. It turned its attention to Ivy, and she felt as if it was peering into her very soul. Why do you come here, child of light? The shadowbark's voice was like the rustling of dead leaves, a sound that sent shivers down Ivy's spine. I come for the seed of light, Ivy declared, her voice stronger than she felt. I come to save the Whispering Woods from your darkness. A sound that might have been a laugh emanated from the shadowbark. Brave words, but bravery alone will not save you here. You seek the seed? Then you must pass the trials of shadow and light. Fail, and the darkness will consume you. Ivy steadied her breathing, preparing herself for what was to come. I am ready, she said. The first trial was one of courage. The shadowbark conjured illusions of Ivy's deepest fears, monstrous creatures and visions of her loved ones in peril. She closed her eyes, focusing on her grandmother's stories, on the lessons of bravery and truth. When she opened them again, she saw through the illusions. They dissolved into mist before her determined gaze. The second trial was one of strength. The ground trembled, and Ivy was forced to navigate a maze that rose from the earth, its walls alive with thorns and vines that grasped and clawed at her. She moved with grace and agility, every step a testament to her resolve. She reached the heart of the maze, untouched by the snaring thorns. The final trial was one of heart. The Shadowbark's voice whispered of doubt, of the futility of her quest, of the inevitable fall of light to darkness. But Ivy's heart was a fortress, and within its walls she held the memories of the wood's whispers, the love of her grandmother, and the hope of the villagers. She let the warmth of these thoughts radiate from her, repelling the Shadowbark's cold lies. With each trial passed, the Shadowbark's form wavered, and the plateau grew brighter. Finally, at the completion of the third trial, a beam of pure, radiant light shot from the heavens, piercing the Shadowbark, banishing it with a scream that echoed through the night. In the aftermath, there, glinting in the moonlight, lay the seed of light. It was a small thing, unassuming in its appearance, but Ivy could feel the power that pulsed within it. She picked it up gently and held it close. The return journey to the heart of the woods was a blur, the forest itself seeming to part ways to hasten her return. The ancient oak greeted her with open branches as she approached, weary but triumphant. "You have done well, Ivy of Thistlenook," the oak said, its voice resonant with pride. Ivy knelt before the great tree and planted the seed of light in the soil at its base. The seed glowed, then the light spread through the ground, a network of luminescence that extended throughout the forest. The trees shone with vitality, the flowers bloomed with renewed vigor, and the whispers of the woods were joyous chants. As dawn broke, the villagers awoke to a sight they had never seen. The Whispering Woods of Wimbleton were alive with brilliant colors, the leaves of the trees a kaleidoscope of greens, golds, and blues. And the whispers spoke of a new guardian, a girl who had saved the forest and restored balance to the land. Ivy returned to the village, her heart full. The villagers gathered around, their eyes wide with wonder, their voices raised in thanks. But Ivy knew the true thanks belonged to the forest, to the magic that had guided her, and to her own heart that had never faltered. From that day on, the Whispering Woods of Wimbleton were no longer a place of secrets and silence. They were a place of stories, of songs, and of laughter. And at the center of it all was Ivy, the girl who had listened to the whispers and spoken back with courage, strength, and an unbreakable